Magic. Before the Great Rupture, was a mystical force, accessible only to the very ancient and very powerful creatures and species of Tyrol. However, after the Great Rupture, many occurrences happened, one of the most notable being magic spread throughout everything. Suddenly, every creature, every species, and every object was awash with this mystical force, and it very nearly broke the world. 300 years later, we're in the modern day. Magic is better understood, but still a dangerous force. Misusing it may end up destroying whole civilizations, but more than likely, you'll end up as a Manitorn. Manitorns are those who have been so awash with magic that their souls have been altered. And if the soul alters too much, it starts to tear apart the mind. And those who are truly lost will find themselves with their bodies altered, creatures driven only by instinct. Now, to combat this, there are techniques that mages have developed. The use of glyphs and tokens allow for people to cast magic without the danger of becoming Manitorn. So, you can take any object and turn it into your token. This is done by channeling a bit of your soul into the object. However, you are not tearing apart your soul, more of moving yourself, a little bit of yourself, through the object. And this directs the magic. So with a token, you're able to safely use it. Now, once one has created a token, and this is done by doing a token creation roll, the stronger the roll, the more glyphs that an item is able to hold. One uses glyphs. Now, glyphs, at their most basic level, are simply representations of the concept of the school. So, certain fire glyphs might represent heat, pressure, motion, very basic, simple concepts that relate to fire. As one progresses through the orders and works their way up, they take the glyphs and they can combine them and adjust them and rearrange them in certain patterns to create very specific effects, spells. Now, no spell is complete until one matches the glyph with their own soul. The soul, much like the fingerprints, has a unique shape to it, and it can be manifest as its own glyph. This is why someone casting Caged with the Water School will represent differently than someone casting Caged with the Earth School, because of how they understand their school and how it works for them. Mages who progress through their schools, and even those who have a natural talent for it, can see glyphs naturally in the world. For example, a water mage would be able to see water glyphs in the flowing of a river or waterfall or waves, whereas a fire mage would be able to see their glyphs in a bonfire or a candle. They take different shapes and different styles depending on what's going on around them, but every individual who has a sense of magic can read their glyphs. In this way, mages are actually able to learn their spells by understanding the different pieces and components. It's easier if you have a teacher or a book where the glyph has already been designed and written down for you. However, you can figure out spells just by studying concepts. In this way, many new spells are often invented. As one climbs through the orders, the spells become more complex, as more and more glyphs are stacked on top of each other and written to one large pattern. Luckily, when imbuing it onto your token, it does not have to be fully detailed. The glyph can take on any look at once. As long as the caster understands what the glyph is intended to look like, it can take on any form on the token. It can be invisible, it can be represented as gemstones or glowing light or flowing water. In this way, magic is very individualistic. It follows broader rules, but it is to the mage themselves how the magic actually works, how it flows. This is why even two water mages casting Cage may have it appear differently, and have different effects on it. Now, Manitorn was mentioned before, and it is, unfortunately, a horrendous disease. As the magic tears apart the soul, one won't notice too many changes, so it's hard to tell when one gets pushed toward mana torn. However, as it starts to affect the mind, and as it affects the soul on a deeper level, you'll see those who are mana frayed, those whose soul is starting to become worn from the constant magic pressing against it. This can happen in two ways. Either often magic that is used continuously and often, albeit in small amounts, will slowly but surely wear it away, or using spell orders that are so massively above what you are capable of will do it as well, even with tokens and glyphs. So one must be careful if they are attempting to use 5th or 6th order spells when they are only comfortable using a 1st order spell. The various magic scholars of Tyrall are not entirely certain what the magic torn actually see, what they perceive, and what they feel. By all intents and purposes, they've been driven mad. Many have pushed themselves right to the edge out of the scholarly approach of it, wanting to know what the Mana-Torn see in attempts to understand or heal them. What few scholars have been able to push that close and find out suggests that they see a world much like our own, but so imbued with magic and what it is actually doing at the deeper levels of existence that the upper layers of existence, the ones that most creatures work on, become unstable, unreliable. They have less grip on reality, and their instincts take over more. It is a dangerous affliction, and many, many different civilizations will, if not get rid of their Mana-Torn, put them in a safe place where they can be watched and kept away from society. Many are just simply mad. Others retain enough cognizance to be dangerous. Many may actually become Mana-Torn by accident. Some may start accessing spells and spell work without realizing what they're doing. Magic is flowing so forcefully through all things that ones could be instinctively using magic even without understanding the glyphs and without having a token. This is why so many people end up driven to the Mana-Torn state, even in whole families being torn apart by accident. This affliction is problematic within the world of Tyrall. In certain areas, like the Badlands, you can even find creatures completely driven mad by the magic, who are more feral beasts than anything at this point, who wander, killing, destroying, and using magic wildly. So, all lore aside, magic is not that hard to work with within the game. It can look complex at the surface, but really it's just a few different pieces. You need a token of some sort. When you create the token, you will make a roll, and it will show you how many glyphs you can actually hold. After your token is created, you can take any spell that you've learned the glyph for and attach the glyph to the token itself. Once that's done, you now have the glyph attached to the token, and you can cast the spell as much as you want. All you have to do is make the appropriate magic school roll, and your spell cast as easily as swinging a sword. Learning new spells involves either doing research and finding it from a book, or meeting with a master of some sort who can teach you how to get these new glyph spells. Or, as noted in the lore, you can study the concepts and develop your own glyphs and attach it back to existing spells. Eventually, we will be releasing how to do custom spells, but that's a little bit farther down the line, but it will tie back into the lore and should be fun for those who like more customization in their characters. Until then, pretty simple process. Cast it through the token, channel magic, use some mana, spells. Alright. Thank you for watching this little tutorial/lore video on how magic works. I hope it clarifies some things for those who are confused about it. We are unfortunately no longer taking any playtesters. However, we have a brand new website up right now, looking nice, shiny, and beautiful. We would love to get your email so we can give you updates. We're planning on releasing the game in September on Kickstarter. So we'll be bringing you regular updates, doing tutorial videos, having fun with some contests. We're planning on doing a lot of stuff. It's coming down the line. I'll have a little piece right here, somewhere over my shoulder, that'll show all the links for the social media we have,
Check us out at rupturerpg.com. Check out one of our social media links. And hey, enjoy the world of Rupture.